what is responsible sexual behavior? Now, there are three words: responsible, sexual, and behavior. Responsible means, people ask me, what do you understand? How can you define responsibility or responsible? So I tell them that being responsible means I will not harm myself, neither I will harm any other person. So that is what is responsible. Second is sexual behavior. Sexual behavior means all behaviors in terms of our sexuality and sexual behavior, like masturbation, having sexual intercourse with the opposite sex partner, or having sex with same sex partner. These are the few sexual behaviors. There are many number of behaviors like that, but just to start with, I can tell you that this is the sexual behavior. Now, why responsible sexual behavior is important is because we know that in India, the sexual transmitted diseases as well as the human immunodeficiency virus infection, HIV infection, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS, they are also prevalent. And nowadays, the shift is from the age group is amongst the adolescent and young adults. So we are very much concerned about it. And because of that, what we see is that the responsible sexual behavior is very important. Now, what is responsible? That I will not harm myself, neither I will harm others. Means neither I will get any infection, nor I will transmit the infection to others. Now, what do you understand by this not transmit? Because we know that HIV or all the sexually transmitted diseases, even apart from this hepatitis B virus, also is transmitted through sexual route. So these are sexually transmitted diseases. Means they are transmitted from one person to another person through the sexual relationship. And if this sexual relationship is not responsible, means either it is with the same partner always or with some protection always, so then that is called as a responsible sexual behavior. The most important age group to which we should target in this sexuality education and regarding the responsible sexual behavior, like in preventive medicine, we always say that primary prevention is important. What do understand by primary prevention is that before the disease start. So what we preach to the adolescents is that, because adolescents are at risk of involving themselves in sexual relationship, so what we ask them is that try to refrain from sexual relationship. But that does not mean that sex is bad, sexual relationship is bad. But because adolescents are not that much mature physically, mentally, socially, economically, and that's why they should try to refrain from these activities. Even young adults also should refrain from these activities. They can continue their relationship, but if possible, that relationship should be without sexual intercourse. Delay the intercourse. We always say that delay the sexual activity. And once you are able enough, mature enough, physically, mentally, socially, then you can indulge in sexual activity. Because every sexual activity has a consequence. If it is not protected, it may give rise to pregnancy. If it is not protected, it may give rise to any sexually transmitted infection. If there is a pregnancy, we call it unmarried pregnancy. So that is harm to the social status of that girl also. So that's why the adolescents and young adults should be preached for this ABCs of responsible sexual behavior. Usually, it has to be educated, or it has to be told to boys that the consent is important. Don't pressurize, don't coerce, or don't have a violent sexual behavior with your partner. If she loves you or if she likes you, that does not mean that she will always be ready for sexual activity. So consent of a girl is most important thing. Even if she would have given consent, or she would have consented before, but next time also, it does not mean that last time she consented means this time also she will be consenting. So consent is most important thing. If she says no, respect her, because that is the most important thing. It is always said, our Masters and Johnson, the pioneer of sexology scientists in the world, they always say that it is always very pleasurable to have a interested and responsive sexual partner. So if the woman or a girl is responsive and interested, and if she is giving consent, then only indulge in sexual activity. So men has to be taught about this, that respect women, respect their consent. Actually, communication is the key in all the aspects. I usually tell that the parents, usually, if we start with parents, we always wish as a parent that my child, my boy, my girl, my son, my daughter, they should be very well educated, very well trained, they should have good job or profession, and they should excel in all activities. We always feel that our son and daughter should not be a dacoit or a thief or a antisocial element, and we start preaching them in our family, what we call in Hindi or Sanskriti sanskar. All these sanskar are given for each and every behavior in our life, except one, that is sexuality. We must understand that our children should not fall prey to teenage pregnancies, to sexually transmitted diseases, to sexual assaults. And that's why we should start communicating with them. So, inculcating the values about responsible sexual behavior, a healthy sexuality is very important. So, value building in sexuality is most important, and that education should be started. We are already told that these young people, if they are faithful in relationship, then there is a good relationship, faithful relationship. It should not be coercive or forceful. Being both the partners should be consenting partner, and consenting means they must be above the age of at least 18 years. That is the most important thing. Another thing is, if they don't want to be faithful, then at least they should be using the condoms for the prevention of pregnancy as well as sexually transmitted diseases. And be open with your partners. Accept no from the partners. That is most important thing in young males. When they are in relationship with, many times emotional or in a friendship, they feel that if the girl or a woman is behaving very properly, freely with them, that means she will be interested in sex. That is not always possible. A woman may be friendly with you, but she may not be having interest in sexual activity with you or sexual relationship with you. So if she says no, accept that no. That is not your insult. That is her consent. That is her wish not to be involved in sexual relationship with you. So accept it with a very great respect and continue the relationship. Then only it can be a responsible sexual behavior. So most important is accepting the no, which is very difficult nowadays because the society is growing and everybody have a very good self-esteem, and listening no is taken as an insult. But listening no is not an insult on the boy's part. It's a wish of a girl, and that should be accepted. It's very plain and simple. So young adult male should always imbibe this thing, that no is a complete statement and no more further proceeding if a woman says no. In marriages also, before marriage also, the couple, the man and a woman, should go for premarital sex counseling. That is also important, how to deal with each other sexually. Because in marriage counseling or pre-marriage counseling, people tell about all other emotional and other relational issues, but they don't address the sexual issues also. So that is also important, that pre-marriage counseling also should be given for a responsible sexual and marital behavior.